The Detroit Tigers control their own destiny, and Jackson Jobe has been called up. Let's talk about it, baby. All today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Tuesday, September 24th, 2024. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Booking.com. Yeah, the right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your baseball rivals. So book today at Booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Get the Booking.com app today. And if you live out of town, go to Booking.com. Get your behind in the city of Detroit ASAP, immediately. Jackson Jobe sure as heck is. I don't know. Maybe the Tigers use Booking.com. I'm not sure. I don't know what's happening. My brain is going a billion, cajillion, some other high number miles an hour. I am speechless. I am so speechless that I have too many words to say. I'm just going to ramble. I can't stop talking because of how speechless I am. Jackson Jobe is in the majors, and the Detroit Tigers control their own destiny. That is the situation, everybody. That's the situation that your Detroit Tigers are in. They are tied for wild card 2. Baltimore, 86-70. The Tigers, 82-74. The Royals, 82-74. The Twins, 81-75. The Mariners right now, in my reality, are 80-76, but they played the Astros a little bit later tonight. I'm recording this before their game. And on top of all of that, the pretty much consensus, right, now that Skeens is no longer a prospect, number one pitching prospect in the game of baseball has been called up and is joining the Detroit Tigers. It's taking every ounce of strength that I have not to absolutely destroy all of your eardrums and just scream right now. I cannot believe this. And it's awesome. In the best possible way, I am stunned by this move. And I think it's beautiful. I think it is the best. Shelby Miller DFA'd. We're going to start with that aspect, and then we'll get to Jobe a little bit later, okay? Because there's actually a lot of points I want to bring up. Not a ton about Shelby Miller and that move, but the fact that that is the corresponding move and not somebody else, I think is really, really telling for where the Tigers are at right now. So Shelby Miller DFA'd. He ends his Tigers tenure with a 4.53 ERA. Ultimately, I think this really just came down to the Detroit Tigers did not want Shelby Miller throwing high leverage situations down the stretch here. Right. And Lord willing, they make the postseason then as well. He just hasn't been very good this season as a whole. His ERA before the All-Star break was over 5. Then he had a good July, good second half of July, has had a decent September, but had a really bad August as well. This is very far from what he was last season with the Dodgers and very far from what this fan base, myself included, and I'm sure the front office thought that we were going to get when the Tigers signed him last winter. The splitter has been inconsistent at best. There was a majority, I don't know about majority, there was a portion rather of the season where he just wasn't even throwing the splitter. And the fastball as well has been inconsistent at best. It's a pitch that when it's on has been effective, and when it's on and the splitter is on, he's been effective, but that is very few and far between, or at least has been for the Tigers in 2024 here. So this also means he obviously won't be back next season, right? Clearly, Captain Obvious statement there, but he had a club option for 2025. This was not a guarantee right? There were people that were commenting and asking me questions about whether he was going to be back next year a matter of days ago, right? So we have our answer on Shelby Miller's role in 2025 as well. He will not be here. This is a great guy, has a great foundation that has hit close to home to his family. I think it's important to remember that and to talk about that and to put it out there, support him, support his family and whatnot. I wish him nothing but the best. From a baseball perspective, I also think that this really says something about the internal promotions that this team has made through their bullpen so far this season, right? There are a handful, like a lot of guys currently in the bullpen for the Detroit Tigers that have been pitching incredible ball over the last, again, like month-ish, that we did not expect to get this level of production. When some of them we didn't expect to get production at all from them in 2024. Sean Gunther, a 1 ERA in 10 games and is a lefty. Brennan Hanafy, a 2.05 ERA in 19 games. Brant Herter, 2.61 ERA, sub-1 whip in 41 and a third innings. Also a lefty. Ty Madden, 3.6 ERA in 20 innings pitched. Bo Brisky even technically started off the season in the minors this year, but if you don't want to include him, obviously we expected Brisky to like be up here and be productive. So he's not quite at the same level, but like another guy that didn't start off in the majors. It would have been so easy for this front office to send one of those guys down and use that as the solution to free up a roster spot here, right, for Joe. Instead, the front office chose their free agent signee, veteran, who had a sub-2 ERA last year and a club option for next season. And I completely agree with it. And I think that sentiment is shared by most people. These guys have all been incredible and certainly don't deserve to be demoted over Shelby Miller. Now, let's get to the main event of the evening, okay? Jackson Jobe is a Major League Baseball player. Again, like I said at the beginning, this is pretty much the consensus top pitching prospect in baseball, no matter what site or analyst or whatnot that you use. This guy had a sub-2 ERA. It was 1.95 in 16 AA starts this season. Got promoted to AAA. Has only had 2 outings at the AAA level. Gave up 2 earned runs in 5 innings pitched. His last time out in AAA, in his first AAA start, gave up 4 runs in 4 innings. This dude has the stuff to be a Cy Young candidate caliber ceiling. And I assure you, I do not say that lightly. Okay. If you've been watching the show for any amount of time, I hope that you realize that and understand that as well. I do not just spew, like, this is all sunshine and rainbows and everything's going to be happy and jolly and the every single prospect is going to be an MVP and whatnot. This guy is actually that caliber of ceiling. Will he hit it? Time will tell, right? But from a pure stuff perspective, that's what he is. He is one of the spinniest sliders you will ever see and has had that since he was drafted. He has a devastating changeup that has gotten way better. When he was drafted, the changeup wasn't even on my radar. Now, I like it as much, if not more than the slider. It's a really good pitch. And then a fastball that when he was participating in spring training, right, in his relief appearance in spring training for the Tigers, hit 102 miles an hour multiple times. Jackson Jobe is a Detroit Tiger. Let's keep talking about it. All right. We'll do that right after this. Got to talk to y'all today about our friends over at eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience is the formula for winning championships and also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. So whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back, because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need and all the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. So keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2, Locked On Tigers. Appreciate you all for tuning in, as always, making us your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We will, of course, be back tomorrow recapping Game 1 against the Tampa Bay Rays in what will kick off the most important 6-game stretch the Tigers have had in almost a decade. Also, be sure to check out Jake Rietma in the postcast immediately following every Tigers game here down the stretch. So, talking about Jackson Jobe, I can't even believe this sentence is coming out of my mouth. We're talking about Jackson Jobe making his major league debut and being called up to the Detroit Tigers. We talked about the stuff a little bit. Also, did not mention his cutter there before the break. This dude added a cutter, which is devastating, right? Anytime you have a cutter that's in the 90s, you're a freak. And the fact that he can pair his fastball relatively straight, cutter moves a little bit and is fast, slider moves a lot of it. Those three, I don't know how anyone hits anything he ever throws, genuinely. And that is the type of stuff that we are talking about here. His struggles this season, when he has had them, which has not been very often, but when he has been an inconsistency in command, right? There's still a lot of work to be done with the command of his slider. It on a raw just movement and stuff perspective, it's incredible and has been since he was like 16 years old. But from a actually pitching and not throwing perspective, there's still some work to be done there. There's still some sequencing stuff that I want to see addressed as well, just in terms of what pitches I think he's confident and comfortable throwing in which counts. Now, I will also say that when you're pairing the borderline consensus top pitching prospect in baseball with the likes of AJ Hinch, Chris Fetter, Robin Lund, Juan Nieves, a lot of that weight is taken off my shoulders. I'm going to be honest with you. Giving one of the most talented arms in all of minor league baseball to one of the best pitching coaching staffs in the entire sport is a pretty good combo. And I'm going to be pretty confident about what they do with him down the stretch here. So the next question that everybody is already asking is what his role on the team is going to be. He's not going to be a starter. We can nip that in the bud right now. Not going to be a starter. He's going to be coming out of the pen. But out of this, in the same breath here, I would imagine they won't mind giving him multiple innings. And I think that is what makes this move so fascinating, is this is just another weapon to give AJ Hinch more flexibility, right? Think about it. We have the reason why I do not regret the Flaherty trade whatsoever is because this pitching staff has been incredible since we traded Flaherty. That adding Flaherty would not have netted the Tigers like a lot more wins in the second half of their season, wouldn't have been a lot different in my eyes, right? And so the reason for that is because AJ Hinch has played managerial chess around other managers with these bullpen games and when to use certain pitchers in certain situations. He has been phenomenal, nearly flawless. It's impossible to be flawless in this long, just lengthy marathon of a season that is the game of baseball, but he has been incredible. And this you can use Jobe however you want. You are giving AJ Hinch an incredible weapon, an incredible talent that can be used in a multitude of situations, right? Can he be a piggyback starter that goes 5 innings like Ty Madden has kind of been? Yes, he absolutely can. Can he be a bulk reliever that in the middle of a game goes 4 innings? Yes, he absolutely can. Can he be a bridge guy, right? You have a starter go out there, Cater Montero, goes only 4 innings. You want a bridge guy to go 3 innings until you get to the back end of your bullpen. Yes, he can do that as well. One time through the lineup, good luck. Or can he be I don't want to, say he's going to replace Foley or Holton, but heck, can he be like a 1 inning high leverage reliever? Yeah, We saw it in spring training. He will just throw 102. His stuff plays in all of the situations I just laid out. So the Detroit Tigers just gave AJ another potentially elite weapon to use down the stretch here. The next natural question that everybody asks is his playoff eligibility. It's been highly discussed. Technically, he would not be, right? Like just by, was he in the majors before September 1st? No. But if the Tigers were, in theory, to make the postseason, it would be pretty darn easy to get him on the postseason roster. This happens all the time, every single year. Teams will write a petition in to Major League Baseball, and they will ask for someone to become eligible that wasn't on the Major League roster before September 1st. It happened at least once. Milwaukee did it last year. But this happens. Tampa did it a couple of years ago. Like this happens all the time. So they will ask if they make the postseason, they will ask to waive the rule so that Jackson Jobe can be in the playoffs. And they will say, oh, the key here is it has to quote unquote replace an injured player, right? Oh, we have someone hurt. We need to use this. If you really like, you can use Baez if you really want to, but like Evan Woodbury pointed out that Sawyer Gibson-Long, you can probably argue like if this dude was healthy, he would be on the coming out of the bullpen at worst for the Tigers Major League postseason roster. So we're going to ask that you waive this rule, exempt this rule, and Jackson Jobe is in the Tigers postseason roster. Basically, what I'm saying is, even though technically he's not going to, or he shouldn't be, I don't even know how to word this. Let's just get to the point here. If the Tigers make it, I fully expect Jackson Jobe to be in the bullpen for the postseason. So what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this move represent? Okay, in a big picture kind of outlook. It means the Detroit Tigers are all in. They are not messing around. All the chips are in the center of the table. Thank you so much to the front office for doing this. I do think it is worth noting that this team continues ever since the deadline to shed off players that the front office signed last winter, right? And is replacing them with internal promotions. I think that is very worthy of conversation. And I think it's a pretty fascinating conversation that we will have this offseason when the season is over. But hopefully that isn't anytime soon. And I expect Jobe to be good, and I expect AJ to use him really well. I think in a perfect world, I would have liked this move to happen a few weeks ago, but I absolutely love it right now at the same time. Okay. So huge credit to Harris and the entire front office for showing their guts and really saying, we are in it for this year, everybody. Like we are. And I know we're talking about 6 games. Okay. I understand that, but like this is still a statement that is being made. The Detroit Tigers are in a playoff battle and control their own destiny and just got better with a week left. Not too many teams can say that with a week left in the season, that they just improved. And even if Jobe struggles out of the gate, even if he doesn't have like a 0 ERA here in the last 6 games of the season, it is still an improvement to add Jackson Jobe over Shelby Miller. So the rest of the season is all yours. The Detroit Tigers control their own destiny with 6 home games left, 3 of which are against the worst team ever. First things first, though, you got to get through Tampa. You got to win some games. Let's talk about that right after this. Got to talk to you today about our friends over at Booking.com. Booking.yeah. Explore those U.S. cities that you always secretly wanted to learn more about. Other baseball cities with hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com. You might find your perfect stay even in your baseball rival's city during the postseason, right? Postseason ball is right around the corner. The Detroit Tigers are playing for something here, right? And while the rest of their season is at home, if they do make it, let's take your fandom on the road here and let's go discover some fantastic U.S. cities with Booking.com and play in some meaningful baseball. Also, just in general, man, like I know we rag on Cleveland all the time here, and the Guardians are big rivals and whatnot, even though they did us a huge favor. Minnesota, same thing. I've been to both of those parks, fantastic parts of town, really fun cities, and used Booking.com to make that happen. So Booking.com delivers exactly the right U.S. stay for you. And now, no matter what team you're rooting for in the postseason, Booking.com can make you a fan of any U.S. city. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your baseball rivals. Booking.com. Booking.yeah. Also got to talk to y'all about our friends over at FanDuel. NFL fans, you can start the season big with a return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place all of your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Third and final segment, Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Jackson Jobe is a Detroit Tiger. Oh my goodness. As if the rest of this season couldn't be any more electric. Now the best pitching prospect in baseball is joining your baseball team. First things first, though, you got to get through the Rays. This is not a gimme series. I don't know why so many people are talking about the Rays as if they're like awful and, oh, we got through Baltimore and it's just easy sailing now, whatever. This team is 500 and also is still technically playing for something, right? They're 4 games back with 6 games left, and you are the team they are chasing, right? So in theory, if they do really well against you, they're right back in the thick of things for that final weekend series of the season. This will not be easy, and the Rays always have good pitching, and you will face good pitchers this series, right? So will the Rays. Tarik Skubal going game 1 is massive. It's imperative to have him throw well game 1, get off to a 1-0 lead here in the series, and just kick off this final homestand with a win after an off day. Going to be a massive game, and I'm so glad that Tarik Skubal is going to be pitching in it. So he pitches on Tuesday night here tonight as you're listening to this. His next scheduled game would then be game 162, right? 6 games left, and he's pitching the first one. That means he's pitching 1 and 6. In this scenario, right, let's break down how they're going to use Skubal the rest of the way. If game 162 against the White Sox is a true win and you are in scenario, Tarik Skubal will be pitching. I don't care that it's the White Sox. I'm tired of people being like, oh, well, it's the White Sox, so you could throw anybody out there. Why not save him? No, you do not mess around with that if it's a win and you're in scenario. If you need to win game 162 to play postseason baseball, you worry about who you're going to throw in the wild card round later, and you pitch Tarik Skubal to ensure a victory. Okay? He will 100% pitch it, and I'm very confident that this front office and managerial staff feels the same way that I do about that. Okay? I don't care that it's the White Sox. He will be throwing. Now, if the Tigers clinch before game 162, then he will not pitch almost assuredly, right? You can, I guess, maybe if you're within a game and you're fighting for seeding, right? I mean, heck, if you're fighting for seeding with Baltimore, then that would really mean something. But even if you're fighting between seeding with like the Mariners or the Royals there, but and Twins with 2 and 3, like there's an argument for it. But if you've clinched a playoff spot, I think there's a real chance that then the Tigers would go, you know what, we're going to save him for game 1 of the wild card round, and we're going to see if we can just beat the White Sox without him. I think that that's a real possibility. And then obviously the situation we don't want to talk about, if the Tigers are eliminated before the final game of the season, if there's a complete collapse here, then Skubal will just pitch the next game and he'll pitch game 162, and that'll be that. The Rays are throwing out Ryan Pepio, Zach Little, and TBD is game 3. Having a great year for Detroit, TBD is. Tigers are throwing Tarik Skubal, Cater Montero, and Reese Olson. So I think that there's inherently an advantage there in A, the fact that you have Tarik Skubal, I guess, but B, in that the Tigers are actually using 3 starters, right? And maybe they use an opener for Montero they did last time, right? His last outing, but I like they might just go 3 traditional starters, which hasn't happened in a series for the Tigers in a while. So I think that's worth noting. That can save your pen a little bit down the stretch here. But I also don't think that they're going to be hesitant about pulling guys, and this is going to be managed like playoff baseball, I guess is my point. AJ is he's managed a lot of playoff games in his life, right? And he is going to manage these like that. These are all must-win games. You have to go out there and I think at worst go 4-2 to give yourself a chance. But I think a lot of people's expectation is 5-1. A lot of people want a series win against Tampa and a sweep against the White Sox, and I don't blame you. And I think that you're going to need your bullpen ready to roll. You are going to empty the tank here. Leave it all out on the field, man. Like you are not messing around. You're not going, oh, so-and-so's not available because he pitched yesterday. It is everything to the wall time. So go win a series against Tampa. Go pack Comerica Park. Everybody and their mother. Go pack Comerica and then go into the White Sox series still in control of your own fate. You are tied with the Royals, rather. Definitely not the White Sox. Tied for the Royals for wild card 2, and Jackson Jobe is in the majors. I cannot express how awesome this is, right? And like I said yesterday, expectations change. We are now expecting them. We are rooting for. Like you should make the playoffs. You control your own destiny. You play teams that are behind you in the standings. But no matter what happens, this is awesome. And Jackson Jobe is going to be pitching in meaningful baseball games. Immediately in meaningful baseball games. Tarik Skubal is going to be pitching in meaningful baseball games. This offense, full of young talent, are playing in meaningful playoff-like baseball games. And the rest of the season's at home, man. In front of a crowd in a city that has been dying for even a remotely good baseball team for 8 years. Job not finished, right? Again, this is not just like some feel-good story. Like now you're in it. Now it's make the playoffs. And like I said earlier, they just improved the team. So tip of the cap to Scott Harris and again, the front office. I think this is a fantastic move. I couldn't agree with it more. And let's have some fun. Let's have some fun in game, 155, 156 for the first time in ages. Ain't no party like a Detroit party, man. Let's have some fun. Let's win some baseball games. And let's bring the Detroit Tigers, who are currently tied with the Angels for the longest playoff drought in Major League Baseball. Let's snap that and make the Angels stand alone. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We will, of course, be back tomorrow recapping Game 1 against the Rays. Tarik Skubal on the mound, Jackson Jobe in the bullpen. Go to Comerica Park. Go support the boys. Bless you, boys. And go Tigers.